त्रिषु धामसु यद्भोग्यं भोक्ता भोगश्च यद्भवेत् तेभ्यो विलक्षणं साक्षी चिन्मात्रोऽहं सदा शिवः मय्येव सकलं जातं मयि सर्वं प्रतिष्ठितं मयि सर्वं लयं याति तद्ब्रह्माद्वयमस्म्यहम् अनोरणीयानहमेव तद्वन् महानहं विश्वमहं विचित्रं पुरातनोऽहं पुरुषोऽहमीशः हिरण्मयोऽहं शिवरूपमस्मि अपानिपादो अहं चिन्त्यशक्ति पश्यामचक्षुः सशृणोम्यकर्णः अहं बीजानामि विविक्तरूपः न चास्ति वेत्ता मम चेत् सदाहम् वेदैरनैक्यैरहमेव वेद्यः वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहं न पुण्यपापे मम नास्ति नाशः न जन्म देहेन्द्रिय बुद्धिरस्ति न भूमिरापो न चावः निरस्ति न चानीलो मेस्ति न चाम्बरञ्च।
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste. A warm welcome to you all for this final session of Kaivalya Upanishad class. This is also the final session of our Introduction to Vedanta online classes series. Our Bhagavad Gita class has already begun on Friday, 31st July 2020. Hope all of you have registered for this class and have attended the inaugural session. All those who have registered have been added in one or the other Param Vedanta BG group. All of our future communication will be posted in these groups. Please check if you are in one of these groups. If you have not registered, please do so immediately after the class. If you have registered but are not added in any of these groups, please contact your present group admin with details. Please note that all the present Intro to Vedanta groups will be dissolved in a day or two. Coming back to today's class, we have a few speakers presenting a few mantras of Kaivalya Upanishad, with Dr. Hegde sir providing further elaboration on those mantras and summarizing. As per our usual practice, let me now chant the Shanti mantra, after which Dr. Hegde sir will begin his class on Kaivalya Upanishad. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Stuštuvagam Sastanubhi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedah Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Bruhaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. We are now in the concluding section of Kaivalya Upanishad, and Kaivalya Upanishad is at its peak, where we have a string of Mahavakyas. No Upanishad, to my knowledge, no other scriptural text has such a string of Mahavakyas. What is a Mahavakya? A Mahavakya is the most famous Mahavakya that we know is Tat Tvam Asi, and the picture you are seeing is in the Shabarimalai temple. The word Mahavakya means a great saying. Adi Shankara has selected 4 such statements from the 4 Vedas. From the Rig Veda, the Mahavakya is Prajnana Brahmam, which comes from the Aitareya Upanishad. From the Yajur Veda, the Mahavakya is Aham Brahmasmi, which comes from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. From the Samaveda, the Upanishad is Chandogya Upanishad, and the Mahavakya there is Tat Tvam Asi. And from the Atharva Veda, the Upanishad being the Mandukya Upanishad, the Mahavakya is Ayamatma Brahma. Again, as this Upanishad has a string of Mahavakyas, what is a Mahavakya? A Mahavakya is a statement which equates that the essential nature of the individual is the same as the essential nature of God. Now, this looks like sacrilege because we know ourselves. I know how limited I am physically, mentally, what limited powers, how helpless I am, and how can I equate myself to the infinite, omnipresent, omnipotent God. So this is something that we need to understand to see what is that in me which can equate to God. And this is, if this understanding is clear, the rest of the Mahavakyas that come will become very clear. The first Mahavakya that you hear is Prajnanam Brahma. Prajnanam means consciousness. In addition to my body mind, there is something conscious. I am aware of everything. There is a Mahavakya in the Bhagavad Gita in the 13th chapter which goes, Shri Krishna says, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. That consciousness principle because of which we are able to see, because of which we are able to hear, because of which we are able to function, that is me functioning through you, Shri Krishna says in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So let us try to equate what is there within me which is equal to that which is divine. I would like to refer you back to the story of Swami Akhandanandaji Maharaj, who was the teacher of our teacher Swami Anubhavanandaji. Many years ago, when Swami Akhandanandaji Maharaj was walking in Rishikesh, he came across a certain Avadut Maharaj. These Avaduts are like mystic saints, God-realized people, but they are like recluse. Sometimes they don't even have clothes on their body. But looking at him, Swami Akhandanandaji Maharaj was very tempted to tell him that I want to share the stories of Bhagavat with you. And he goes to his place. Normally the teacher does not go to the student, but here Swamiji goes to Akhandanandaji Maharaj goes to this Avadut Maharaj to tell him all the stories of the Bhagavat. This person who had never been exposed to the Bhagavat listened with rapt attention, with tears in his eyes. And when a few sessions were over, it came time for them to part. And normally it is a tradition for the student to give something to the teacher as Guru Dakshina. And the Avadut Maharaj says, see, I am an Avadut, I have nothing, but I want to give you something. And he says, from now on, remember one thing, you are Sakshat Narayana himself. Swami Akhandanandaji Maharaj replied, from that moment, he never forgot. Many years ago, when I had a chance to be with Swami Anubhavanandaji, I recollected the story. And after listening to it, he said one word. He says, Mahavakya. How could this be a Mahavakya? I wondered. Now I realize that Upadesha by the Avadut Maharaj to Swami Akhandananda Maharaj, from now on, remember, you are Sakshat Narayana himself. Now we need to understand what is there in me which can equate to Narayana. One thing is very certain, I know I am. To know that I am, I don't need any instrument of knowledge. I am absolutely convinced of the fact that I am. And therefore, this knowledge that you're so convinced about your existence is called aparokshanubhuti. About God is paroksha. Because somebody has told me about God, I know about God. So God is something distant. About my existence, I am very confident about. Now we need to equate this very confident knowledge about yourself that I am with the fact about what is common between I am, this knowledge, and about God. I want you to look at one picture of yourself when you are very little. And as you look at yourself when you are very small, you will see how much your body has changed, how much your thoughts, emotion, knowledge has changed. But there is something in you that has never changed. That which has never changed, that constant factor is Prajnanam Brahma. Throughout our waking state, we are conscious, and that consciousness is Prajnanam Brahma. When I am dreaming, my mind is asleep, I don't know anything, but I remember my dream. So there is that consciousness, that Prajnanam in my dream, which remembers my dream. And when I sleep, I don't know anything, but one thing I know for certain, that I slept well. Who is there to record that I slept well? That is Prajnanam Brahma. When we are in the field of Vedanta for some time, and when the teacher knows you are ready, the teacher now gives the Upadesha Rupa Mahavakya, the Vakya number 3, called Tatu Tvam Asi. And the student is suddenly baffled by the fact that I am Sakshat Narayana myself. It takes some time to internalize this fact. And when some amount of internalization happens, you come to the 4th Mahavakya, I am Atma Brahma. In English it says, I am Atma, this Brahman is me. But in Sanskrit it means that which is intimately close to me, that me is Brahman. And finally, when it dawns, and when it dawns to you that you are Brahman, there is that celebration, there is a sense of realization that this body, mind in me is Mithya compared to the real me that is Satya. And you exclaim and you proclaim, Aham Brahmasmi. That proclamation you see in this great Mahavakya that Dr. Komal, a senior consultant neurosurgeon at the Narayana Institute of Neurosciences. Dr. Komal, can you please explain this Mahavakya to us?
Thank you, sir. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Verse 19. Mai eva sakalam jatam, mai sarvam pratishtitam, mai sarvam layam yati, tad brahmadvayam asmyaham. So here in Kaivalya Upanishad, up to mantra 17, the teacher Brahmaji gives the Mahavakya Upadesha to the Shishya Ashwalayana. That is Tattvamasi. The teacher says, you are that. And now in mantras 18 to 22, the student Ashwalayana, who has internalized this Mahavakya, erupts in joy, and he gives a series of Mahavakya about what he has learned, understood out of the Mahavakya. So he declares what he has received, the central core teaching of the Upanishads, that is Jivatma, Paramatma, Aikyam. Here particularly in Kaivalya Upanishad, the example of different states in which we exist is taken as example to internalize this Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam. That is the dream state particularly. So what happens in the dream? In the dream, I feel that I am a creator, I am a creature or a person within the dream. But the moment when I wake up, I reverse the statement and I am able to say that the dream world was within me. Also, I say that the dream world is born out of me. I am the Srishti Karanam of the dream world. It rests in me. I am the Sthiti Karanam of the dream world. And finally, it resolves into me. I am the Laya Karanam of the dream world. So here we notice that I can say these declarations only when I am awake, when I am out of the dream. But what happens inside the dream, I will be a person, an experiencer inside the dream. I associate myself with the dream body. I will see various other people, the relationships, emotions, pains and pleasures inside the dream. But I am not aware that I am the creator of this whole thing which is happening around me. And I feel, because I am associated with my dream body, I feel the same pain as much as real as I feel in the Jagrat Prapancha. The Upanishad points out to us here that the Jagrat Prapancha, what we are experiencing day to day, is also a Maha dream, to say, of sorts. So what we have to become is a Maha Waker, as Swami Paramarthananda says, that we have to wake up from this dream in which this apparent real world around us also will mean to us as a Maha dream. Okay, once I come out of this status of Maha dream, I'll be able to make the statement even for the seemingly real world around us that I am the creator of the universe around me. My eva sakalam jatam, everything around me in this seemingly real universe is born out of me. My sarvam pratishtitam, I am the one adhishtanam of everything, and everything rests inside me. My sarvam layam yati. So everything finally resolves onto me. But who is this me when I make this declaration that I am the creator of the universe around me? Tad Brahmat Advayam Asmeham. I am that Brahman. I am that Brahma from which everything, the universe, is brought out. Okay? And that is Advayam, that's non-dual Brahman. Advayam Asmiham. So this is the declaration which takes us to the Mahavakya statement that Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Komal, for such a complete explanation of the exclamation of the student who has understood that he is not just this body-mind complex, but he is now made that jump from being a creature in this world to be the creator in this world. That is impossible unless you know the last verse, that I am that non-dual, non-destructible self. Aham means that which cannot be killed. What is there in me that cannot be killed? My body is constantly changing. My mind is constantly changing. But there is something in me that never changes, which is always there. So that is why there is another beautiful verse in the Keno Upanishads which says Prati Bodha Viditam Matam. In every experience, can I move from the experience to the experiencer? That constant factor. Hopefully someday, with the grace of the Gurus and with the blessings of the Lord, and through the persistence, we are able to wake up. For the time being, let us keep chanting this mantra as like fake it before one day we ultimately make it. We go to the next speaker, that is Chetana, who has another Mahavakya to explain. Anoraniyan, can you please go ahead? Chetana, please.
Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Imagine you are in a jewelry shop. Just imagine, okay? You will see a display of various ornaments like bangles, chains, rings, earrings, etc. But if you see closely, they are all gold with different names and forms. These ornaments have no existence without gold. So gold is the karana or cause for the existence of all the ornaments. It is present in and through the ornaments. In the same way, in the previous verse, which Dr. Komal explained, Brahman is said to be the cause or karana of everything, and it is present in and through everything in this verse. Mayi eva sakalam jatam, mayi sarvam pratishtitam. The teacher has said, Tattvamasi, you are that. And the student, after understanding this teaching, is claiming it as Aham Brahmasmi, I am that. Now, Brahman is my real nature, and I should claim it. So these verses are proclaiming my real nature. This verse and the next few verses make an attempt to reveal the nature of Brahman and the location of Brahman, though Brahman does not have both. In this particular verse, 9 characteristics have been enumerated and which we have to claim as my higher nature. Let us take the first one. Aham Aniyanano. I am that Brahman who is subtler than the subtlest. Tadvat, similarly. Aham Mahanevam. I am bigger than the biggest. Since the entire spectrum from the smallest to the biggest is Brahman, I claim to be the Karana or the cause of this universe. Aham Vishwam. And what type of Vishwam? Vichitram, means full of varieties. This world is a mixture of good and bad, pleasure and pain, etc. So what should we understand from this? It means that this whole creation is nothing but Brahman or Atma with names and forms. I am that Atma present in the smallest atom and in the biggest star. I am this manifold universe. Next, Aham Purushaha. Aham Puratanaha. I am the most ancient one, which means I am beginningless. I am Anadi. Aham Purushaha. Now here, Purusha has two meanings. One, as a resident of this body, that is Jivatma. And second, as the one that pervades everything, that is Paramatma. In short, I am both Jivatma and Paramatma. Next, Aham Isha. I am the master or the independent one on whom this whole world is dependent. I am Satyam, and this Mithya Jagat rests upon me. It is like the wave and ocean are dependent upon the water, but the water is independent of them. Then I claim my nature is Hiranmaya. I am the effulgent, self-shining consciousness. I am Chaitanya Swarupam. I illuminate this whole world. Finally, Shivarupam Asmi. I am ever auspicious or Mangalam. This signifies that I am Ananda Swarupa. This is the third part of my nature, Satchit Ananda. This is my real nature and I should claim it, Satchit Ananda. Thus, I am in the form of everything. Now, does this mean that our worldly problems or samsara go away? Definitely no. The world and its problems will always be there, but they will be dimmed in intensity when the mind is saturated with the light of this knowledge. It is like during the daytime, the stars are very much there, but because of sunlight, they are not visible. The Jnanis will have the same problems as the Ajnanis, as both of them live in the same world. But how they handle the worldly problems is totally different. An Ajnani will have emotional upheavals, ups and downs, but a Jnani will be emotionally stable and handles his problems very maturely. Real understanding is accepting the pairs of opposites like pleasure and pain, good and bad, as an integral part of this world, and never forgetting my real nature, Aham Brahmasmi. This awareness of the fact that everything is me only is called Sarvatma Bhava. Thank you.
Thank you, Chetana, for a very nice explanation of another Mahavakya. As I said, these are exclamations of the student. The student now, Ashwalayana, who is sitting in front of the Guru, has realized himself and he can't control himself, and very poetically described. And many of these comes in other Upanishads like Katha Upanishad also. We have another Mahavakya, another very beautiful Mahavakya, which will be explained to us by Rama Gopalakrishna, who is currently in the United States. Rama, can you please take over?
Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Having given the Mahavakya Upadesha, Prajapati, the teacher, now discusses the Nididhyasana Sadhanam to be followed by Ashwalayana to make his knowledge doubt-free. He has received and understood Aham Brahmasmi, the Anubhava Mahavakya. The three ways of defining Brahman are Swarupa Lakshanam, Tatastha Lakshanam, and Atadvyavrutti Lakshanam. Swarupa Lakshanam defines Brahman by stating its nature. Tatastha Lakshanam indicates Brahman through worldly experiences. The classic example is a signpost which points away to a place but is obviously not the actual place. Atadvyavrutti Lakshanam defines Brahman by negating the Anatma from Atma, and what remains is Brahman. In this mantra, Brahman as experienced by all of us is indicated using Tatastha Lakshanam. The mantra says, Apani padoham achintya shaktihi pashyamya chakshus sa shunomya karnaha aham vijanami vivikta rupaha nachasti veta mamachit sadaham. Let us see the word meaning. Apani padoham, I am that without hands and legs. in this mantra, through Sopadhika Jiva experience, Nirupadhika Brahman is indicated, it can be observed. The words Saha and Aham are the subjects for all the phrases in this mantra. Apani Padoham, I am that without hands and legs. We are all aware of our body with hands and legs. Brahman has no hands and legs. In Jivas, Brahman enlivens and energizes these organs to function and experience the world. Also, it lends existence and awareness to the world. Pashami achakshuhu. I am that who sees without the eyes. I am aware of everything without having eyes because I am behind the seeing power of the eyes. However, eyes cannot see the consciousness behind eyesight. Shunomyakarnaha. I am the earless hearer of everything. In our dream, we experience Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, even when the Panchendriyas are not functional. It is because of this unique power of consciousness. From the standpoint of the absolute truth, there is no seeing or hearing. As Dr. Komal Prasad mentioned, this world is a Mahaswapna. Supporting this, Mundaka Upanishad says, Achakshushrodram tadapani padam. Also, Kenopanishad says, Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Manaha Chakshurachakshuhu, meaning the consciousness is beyond organs of action and senses, because it is subtler than the subtlest. Aham vijanami vivikta rupaha. I am that who knows everything, taking the form of jivas. I am formless, although all forms are my expressions. I know everything and I express myself as I am conscious of myself, I am conscious of my mind, I am happy, I am sad, etc. Aham achintya shaktihi. I am Brahman with unimaginable, vast, limitless ocean of power called Maya. With Maya, I create, sustain, and resolve the worlds in the waking and dream states. So I am the Srushti, Sthiti, Laya, Karta of this world. With Sattva Pradhana Maya, I play the role of Ishvara. With Rajaf Pradhana Maya, I am Jiva, and Tamah Pradhana Maya, I act as Jagat. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, Ishvara, a great magician, creates this universe and the beings in it by his supreme power Maya. The magician is real and the magic is a mere phantom. Na chasti veta mama. I know everything, yet none can know me, because I am beyond Vrittignanam. From the standpoint of one's own ego, one cannot comprehend the absolute. There is no duality of knower and the known. It is not an object of experience, but the experience itself. Kenopanishad says, Pratibodha vidhitam matam. Every experience reveals my existence. Chit sadaham. I am always that pure consciousness which is imperishable and unchanging. When you abide in yourself, it reveals itself because of its self-effulgence. Let us all experience the inner dwelling self-effulgent consciousness. Hari Om. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rupa Madam, for a very nice explanation of a very difficult, Rama Madam for a nice explanation of a very difficult verse. Now, there is a shift from what is called Sopadika and Nirupadika. Now, Upadi, that means with Upadi and without Upadi. When Brahman by itself is Paramarthika, all that you are seeing on the right side. It does not undergo any change. It has no gunas. It is pure consciousness. When that same Brahman manifests through an Upadi, the Upadi here could be body, mind. That is why you have once, you said, I have no hands, no feet, and yet I have tremendous amount of power. I have no eyes, no ears, but yet I can see and I can hear. So there is a shift coming from through the Upadi. When it is Sa Upadi, is called Sopadika. When it is without Upadi, it is called Nirupadika. So we are a combination of all that. we see so much of limitations because we identify with the body-mind complex. The whole Upanishad is trying to help us to disidentify from the body-mind complex. Whenever we are in an Upanishadic class, this becomes very clear to us that I am someone other than the body who uses this body-mind. But there is a tendency to forget this soon after the class. So it is through the power of Nididhyasanam, through the chanting of this mantra, that you will get certain amount of obstacles are removed, that the essence of this Upanishad lasts all through the day. We now come to one of the climax of the whole Upanishadic series, which Dr. Divakar, psychiatrist at Narayana Institute of Neurosciences, please explain to us this Upanishad. I'll get you the mantra first.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Verses 18 to 22 are Nididhyasana mantras, where the student Ashwalayana is proclaiming Anubhava Rupa Mahavakyas after receiving the highest teaching from Brahmaji. Mahavakyas are broadly classified into Upadesha Rupa Mahavakya, where Guru teaches Tat Tvam Asi, and Anubhava Rupa Mahavakya, where the student proclaims Aham Brahma Asmi after receiving the teachings. We all know that Gnana Yoga, which is the only path available to claim the moksha, consists of 3 sequential sadhanas: Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. Through Shravanam and Mananam, it is expected that the student has absolute conviction on Upadesha Rupa Mahavakya, Tatatvam Asi, that is, you are that Brahman. We are accompanied by the scriptures, Guru, Satsanga, for our Shravanam and Mananam. Till this stage, the knowledge is still an information only. For this information to become a transformation, for a Gnani to become a Gnananishta, the only sadhana left is Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam is a solo journey, and it involves a gradual assimilation of the acquired knowledge and putting it into practice. Nididhyasanam is not limited to sitting quietly and meditating, but priming our mind to meditate on our true nature through every experience of ours at every moment. Nididhyasanam should be practiced when the prarabdha is favorable, so that in the times of unfavorable prarabdha, it comes handy. This is like exercising for health when we are healthy. For the beginners, it can be particularly difficult to negate the world thoughts and the ego thoughts, especially at a Vyavaharika level. Kaivalya Upanishad and Swami Paramarthananda gives a very useful tool to work on these distractions, and that tool is Adhyaropa Apavada Nyaya. You will see that in the next slide. Nyaya is the methodology of teaching. Adhyaropa is the deliberate superimposition, and Apavada is the removal of this superimposition to reveal the truth. Beauty of this Upanishad is that Adhyaropa is introduced by the Guru Brahmaji, which we studied in the verse 15, and now in the verse 22, the enlightened Shishya Ashwalayana talks about Apavada through his Mahavakyas. Let us now understand this Nyaya through pot clay example as explained by Swami Paramarthananda. This Nyaya involves 4 steps. First 2 steps are Adhyaropa and the next 2 are Apavada. Step 1, introducing the pot as the product, which is the effect or the karyam. Step 2, the natural question which arises is, what is the cause of this pot? What is the cause of this karyam? With our logic, we understand that the cause or the karanam of this pot is clay. With this, karya karana sambandha is established. This is the superimposition. This is Adhyaropa. Now we go to the step 3. Apavada begins. On further analysis, we realize that there is no karyam effect at all, as the pot is nothing but the clay in certain shape and form. All the real attributes of the pot belongs to the clay alone. Therefore, the pot has lost its independent existence. So it is mithya. It seems like real, but it is mithya. With this, the effect or the karyam is negated. Now let's move to the step 4. Now that we have negated the pot, the effect, what is left behind is the cause, the clay. But where is the question of the cause and effect relationship if the effect is already negated? Therefore, clay also loses its causal status. Karanatvam status of the clay is eliminated. What remains is only clay. And that clay was there before the pot, it was there in the pot, and it will be there after the pot also. This step is a big shift in understanding of Vedanta. Now let us apply the same steps to the world and Brahman. The step 1, world including my body-mind complex is the karyam or the effect. Step 2, through the Vedanta and the Acharyas, we understand that the Brahman is the cause, both material as well as intelligent, of this Karya Prapancha. Step 3 is the Apavada. In fact, the effect world has no independent existence without the cause Brahman. In other words, there is only Brahman which is present as the world in different names and forms. And now the step 4, after that we have negated the Karya Prapancha as Mithya. The causal status of the Brahman can also be negated. Therefore, what remains is the pure Sat Chit Brahman. And finally, the claim by the student is the pure Sat Chit Brahman, which is beyond the cause and effect. Karya Karana Vilakshana is none other than Aham. Aham Brahma Asmi. Shankaracharya, in his very great work of Aparokshanubhuti, sums up this beautifully. Karyehi karanam pashyet paschat karyam visarjayet karanatvam tato gachet avashishtam bhavan munihi. Now with this understanding, it is easier to learn this verse. I'm not going to chant this verse as Radhaji has already beautifully chanted this. The first 2 lines of this verse talks about Brahman from the standpoint of the empirical world as reflected consciousness, and how it is all pervading, just as how clay was pervading through the entire pot. Here, Swamiji explains about Triputi. Triputi is the triad which we experience every day. Pramatha, the knower; Prameya, the knowable; Pramanam, the instrument or the medium which connects the Pramatha and the Prameya. So we will see that how the student is claiming that he is all of that. Aham eva vedyaha. I am the one to be known, the Prameya. Anekaihi vedaihi. Using many Vedas through the initiator, Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru. Vedakrit api aham. Here, Acharya is taken as the Pramanam. As only through a competent Guru, Shastra Pramanam will make any sense to us. So this Pramanam is I myself. Then Vedavit cha aham. The knower Pramata is aham eva. Just as we realize after waking up from the sleep that we are the Triputi in the dream, we can claim that we are the Triputi even during the awakening state after waking up from the cosmic dream of the Maya through this Gnanam. Next 4 lines talks about negation of the lower order of reality from the standpoint of the original consciousness, Brahman, like how we negated the pot from the standpoint of the clay. First part is negating Vyasti, the microcosm. Na punya pape mama nasti nashaha. I don't have punyam and papam. Where is the question of Janma and Nasha if there is no punyam and papam? Na janma dehendriya buddhi rasti. I have no birth, no body-mind complex, all of which are again products of the punyam and papam. And in the second part, samasti, the macrocosm is also negated. Bhumihi, apaha, vanhi, which is agni, anila, which is vayu, ambara is akasha. All panchabhutas are negated as mithya from the standpoint of Brahman. With this, the apavada nyaya of the student is completed. So does the main teaching of this Upanishad. Following verses are about the benefit or the phalam of this teaching. Hari Om, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Divakar, for an excellent explanation of a difficult verse and also for explaining the concept of Adhyaropa Apavada Nyaya. Let us do some imagination. Brahmaji has successfully taught his student Ashvalayana, And Ashwalayana Rishi is in ecstasy and claiming these words like "My eva sakalam jatam, my sarvam pratishtitam, my sarvam layam yati." Because of me, this whole world has come into existence. This whole world is sustained by me alone, and this whole world resolves into me. One statement of audacity. Now look at this statement, which says all the Vedas are talking about me alone, and I am the one who's being revealed by all the Vedas. I am the real knower of all the Vedas. And then comes the Apavada part of it, which says, I have no punya, no papa, there is no birth, there is no death, there is no bhumi, there is none of these elements, nothing ever exists. One word about this Adhyaropa Apavada Nyaya. This is very central to understanding of Advaita Vedanta. In Advaita Vedanta, one of the most important understandings that we need to get into, what is called a nishta, is that this world around me, however tangible, however real, however much it is going to impact me, we have to see it is of a lower order of reality. And I have to train myself that other than Brahman, nothing else really exists. And that is possible through these beautiful explanations of Adhyaropa Apavada. That teacher who is able to clearly explain to you, and if you have understood that, that teacher is Sakshat Dakshinamurti himself. And our Guru Swami Paramarthananda is one teacher who has that ability to convince to our minds this Adhyaropa Apavada Nyaya. We now come to how do we internalize this? How do we take home the benefit of all this? Jyoti, if you can please explain to us.
Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Evam viditva paramatma rupam guhashayam nishkalam advitiyam samasta sakshim sad asad vihinam prayati shuddham paramatma rupam. In this mantra, Lord Brahma, Prajapati, concludes his Mahavakya Upadesha. He points out that the Mahavakyam must be absorbed by following Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. Shravanam and Mananam are meant for revising the conclusion about myself that I am not a Jiva but am Brahman. Nididhyasanam is meant for the revised mindset, that is, changing the mindset from the triangular Jiva Jagat Ishvara to the binary Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya format. This revised conclusion must be followed by the revised mindset. Revised conclusion plus the revised mindset is Gnana Nishta. In summary, this mantra says, thus having known the nature of the Supreme Self, which resides in the heart, which is partless, non-dual, the witness of all, without cause and effect, and pure, one attains the nature of the Supreme Self. The key points of this mantra are that oneness with the Paramatma is the result. By knowing Paramatma Rupam, I become one with Paramatma. Jivatma was one with Paramatma before, now and ever will be Paramatma the creator. Due to ignorance, there was a notional difference. Wisdom-based attitudinal change is moksha. Having absorbed this nature of Paramatma or self-knowledge in this manner by Adhyaropa Apavada, which was very detailedly explained in the 22nd mantra and also by Dr. Hegde, through Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam, one attains the nature of the Supreme Self. Just to recap a little, because it's very important for us to understand Adhyaropa Apavada, Brahman, which is non-dual, appears as the world of plurality of insentient and sentient beings because of Adhyaropa. It is due to Adhyaropa that the real appears as the unreal and the unreal appears as the real. By adopting the method of negation or Apavada, which involves discrimination, the attributes of the Anatma are eliminated to reveal the Atma. Superimposition is only an appearance. Therefore, Atma is unaffected by the attributes of the Anatma imposed on it. Now, what is the nature of the self? It is, or I am, Guhashayam, that is, resident in the mind, witnessing my thoughts as a Sakshi. Nishkalam, I am divisionless, indivisible, or without parts like space. Therefore, I am formless and all-pervading. Advitiyam, without a second. Consciousness is only one. Therefore, there is no second. Samasta Sakshim, I am the witness of everything. Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti avasthas and prapanchas. Sada Sad Vihinam, I am beyond Karya, Sad, and Karana or Asad. So I am beyond cause and effect. Maya is Karanam, while Prapancha is Karyam. I am beyond Maya and Prapancha. That is Maya Prapancha Atita. In what way is Paramatma available in the mind? The mind functions as an intangible material or substance in which thoughts rise and subside, plus as a witness of presence and absence of thoughts. Paramatma exists as the witness or Sakshi, that consciousness principle which witnesses the functioning of the mind in Jagrat and Swapna, as well as in the restful state of the mind, which is Sushupti. Therefore, Karya Karana Vilakshanam, Sad is Karyam, Jagat or manifest, Asat is Karanam, Paramatma or unmanifest. I am also Shuddham. I am free from Maya and Prapancha because they are Mithya, as good as not being there. Therefore, I am absolutely pure. There is no second thing to contaminate me. For example, the dirty water in the dream cannot contaminate the wake-up. Paramatma Rupam. I am of the nature of Paramatma and not Jivatma. This is the most important statement. Having known and absorbed this teaching in a manner that was explained, what will happen to me? Paramatma Rupam Viditva Paramatma Rupam Prayati. The knower merges and becomes one with Paramatma. It is like the famous mantra from the Mundaka Upanishad. Brahma Veda Brahmaiva Bhavati. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. Becoming Paramatma is dropping the notion that I am Jivatma. This is called Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. So with this, the discussion of the Gnana Phalam is also complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyoti, for such a clear explanation. Although you have explained clearly, although Divakar has explained clearly, we still have the problem because the Upanishads are so lofty. That is why somebody has said never before or never after has human consciousness has attained to such Himalayan heights. From the listening to these words of the Upanishads, we are really transformed to great heights, and we need to see what we can do that this knowledge that has been given to us thanks to our acharyas and to our gurus, we have this knowledge. Brahma Jnanam has come into our heads. We have now completed Kaivalya Upanishad first chapter. We have one more chapter to go. Now we will enter into the second chapter. The second chapter, fortunately, is much easier than the first chapter. The second chapter is for those of us who have made all efforts to understand these Upanishads, but who are able to appreciate this is so lofty, this is so beautiful, but Brahman is still there and I am still here. I am still so ordinary, and I've heard all this, Mayeva Sakalam Jatam, but it has not made much more change to me. So what is the Jnana Phalam that comes in the last two verses? And these two verses, which become the second chapter of the Kaivalya Upanishad, is meant for all of us. Now, this Upanishad, that's why the second part is extremely relevant to us, extremely meaningful, and I leave you with a very beautiful take-home message of what the last part of this Upanishad tells you. If we have studied the Kaivalya Upanishad thoroughly, and through the grace of the Guru, we should attain to Kaivalyam. Kaivalyam means Kevala, means other than me, there is nobody. A certain Zen master was asked, what is your greatest accomplishment in life? Immediately he answered, here I am alone with myself. Alone means I am by myself, but I am so complete just by myself. And that is what, when Arjuna asks Sri Krishna, what are the qualities of a person who has realized Brahma Vidya? And Sri Krishna answers, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogata atman evatmana tushtaha. That person who is so full of himself attains to kevala, attains to mokshatvam, attains to purnatvam, and that is what we have supposed to have grasped by studying Kaivalya Upanishad. But a lot of us are still grappling. We know the beauty of the Kaivalya Upanishad, but all of us are born with certain duritam. Duritam means certain obstacles. Now we need to work on those obstacles so that the Kaivalya Upanishads will reveal, and we will be able to claim like Ashvalayana Rishi, Mayeva Sakalam Jatam. So what do? The Upanishad comes back to our levels. It comes back to, and he says, don't worry. If you are not able to fly like Ashvalayana, I will give you a technique. The technique which Swami Paramarthananda says is Pancha Maha Yajna. And this Upanishad advises us to do Brahma Yajna. Brahma Yajna is the scriptural study, but it gives you a simple form. It tells you study or chant Shri Rudram every day. Shri Rudram is one of the most beautiful gifts from the Yajurveda, which is, Swami Anubhavananda says, just like the Bible is the text for all Christians, the Gita for all the Hindus, for all devotees of Lord Shiva, it is Shri Rudram. Just by chanting Shri Rudram. This is how the second chapter of Kaivalya goes this way. Yaha Shatarudriyam Adiyate. That means do Parayanam of Shri Rudram. And if you are able to do that, all the various papas that we have accumulated, not only in this Janma, all the previous Janmas will be removed. And when the papas are removed, all the obstacles are removed. And what are the obstacles? Now you have to take this very symbolically, but not literally, because it looks a little ridiculous, because this is what the Upanishads say. Now what are the papas that go? Sa Agni Puto Bhavati. Whatever papas that are related to not doing the Agni ritual properly, all those papas go away. Surapanat Puto Bhavati. For you get purified of the sin of drinking alcohol. Sa Brahmahatyat Puto Bhavati. Even if you have killed a wise person sometime in your previous life, even that papa is washed off, you're purified. Now, how is that possible? You may think, let me share a story with you. A man comes to a police station and tells the policeman, I have committed murder, you can arrest me. The policeman gets a little worried and looks at him up and down, and he says, what exactly happened? Where did this happen? And this man confesses, it happened in my dream. The relieved policeman says, you have come to the wrong place. You have to go to a mental hospital. But take the story in a different way. However serious a crime that you have committed in your dream, no policeman in this world is going to punish you. Which means this is meaningful for those who have awoken to Paramartika Satya. In Paramartika Satya, any sin that has been done at the Vyavaharika level becomes irrelevant, and that is the significance of these forms of purification. Krityat akrityat puto bhavati. We are supposed to do certain things we don't do. We are not supposed to do certain things we do. All those sins are forgiven. And then it says, Sa suvarna asteyat puto bhavati. Even stealing of jewelry, that crime is forgiven. Bhavati atyashrami sarvada sakrit vajapet. Especially for sannyasis, Shri Rudram chanting is considered to be ideal. Tasmad avimukto ashrito. Avimukto is none other than Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva in Kashi is called Avimukteshwara. Vimukta means an animal. Why is an animal called Vimukta? Because it has no rules and regulations. Vimukta. Avimukta is one who's other than a Pashu. And the controller of Pashu and Avimukta is Pashupatinath, Lord Shiva. And finally, the last words goes there like this: Anena jnanam apnoti. Our teacher says, Swami Anubhavananda is very clear that chanting Kaivalya Upanishad is as sacred, as potent as chanting Sri Rudram itself. So what we can do is chant Kaivalya Upanishad every day, and I will see how you can get an audio of Swami Paramarthanandaji's chanting of the Kaivalya Upanishad, and just by listening to it, you will get the words of this Upanishad. And then what happens through this Parayanam, through the chanting of Kaivalya Upanishad, there is Chitta Shuddhi. All the impurities that are there in the mind go away. Samsara Arnavat Nashanam. The whole ocean of samsara gets washed away. And Tasmat, and these are the last words of Kaivalya Upanishad, it claims Kaivalyam Phalamashnuti, Kaivalyam Phalamashnuti iti. And such a person attains Purnatvam. And in this life, he becomes a Jivan Mukta. And once the body drops, the person will not have, attains to Videha Mukti. With this, we make profound salutations to our teacher, Brahmaji, the student Ashwalayana Rishi, and profound respects to our Guru, Swami Paramarthananda, for giving us this very beautiful Upanishadic meaning. There are 5 Mahavakyas, which are Anubhava Rupa Mahavakya. I will request Radha to chant those for us, and then we will conclude with a few instructions from few messages to us by Venkatesh Prasad. Radha, please.
Trishu dhamasu yad bhogyam bhokta bhogascha yad bhave tebhyo vilakshanam sakshi chinmatroham sada shivah mayeva sakalam jatam mai sarvam pratishtitam mai sarvam layam yati tad brahma dvayamasmyaham anoraniyanahameva tadvan mahanaham vishwamaham vichitram puratanoham purushohamishah hiranmayoham shivarupamasmi apani-pado aham chintya shaktihi pashyama chakshuh sashrunomya karnah aham vijanami vivekta rupah na chasti veta mama chet sadaham Vedairanaikyairameva vedyah Vedanta-krit veda-vedeva chaham na punya pape mama nasti nashah na janma dehendriya buddhirasti na bhumi rapo na chava nirasti na chanilo mesti na chandarancha.
Dear friends, we have come to a close of our class on Kaivalya Upanishad. Along with it, our online class series, Introduction to Vedanta. Thank you all for your keen interest evinced and cooperation extended for the successful completion of this class. We sincerely hope this class has helped you to make up your mind to pursue study of Vedanta. I wish to thank Dr. Komal Prasad, Dr. Divakar, Srimati Chetana, Srimati Rama Gopalakrishna, and Srimati Jyoti Karthik for their wonderful presentations. I thank Srimati Radha Muralidharan for divine chanting of Kaivalya Upanishad mantras. Dr. Hegde sir, pranams and thanks to you for yet another wonderful class. We'll meet on coming Friday evening to continue our study of Bhagavad Gita at 6:45 p.m. as usual. As I told you in my welcome address, the present Intro to Vedanta groups will be exited in a day or two, and please ensure that you are in the new group of Param Vedanta BG and your attendance on Friday evening. Thank you once again for your total participation all these days and look forward to same involvement in future also. Let's meet coming Friday, 7th August 2020 evening for our second class on Bhagavad Gita. Do not forget to log in before 6:45 p.m. local time. Namaste. Let's end the class with Shanti Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.